Hello everyone and welcome to VizRT Tuesday Tutorials. My name is Richard Evans. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So today I'd like to do a quick tutorial about the Sessions menu on the TriCaster Vizion. This is where you'll set up the global vision for your TriCaster productions. Short and sweet, but very important, so let me show you how it's done, son! Alright, so I am on the TriCaster Vizion opening screen here. And I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the different options that you have in your sessions. But before we do that, like I mentioned in my previous video, before you create a session, I recommend going into the configuration panel here under connectors and determining what your different input-output is going to be. Because on the TriCaster Vizion, you have options to change the different SDI connections to be either inputs or outputs depending on what your workflow is going to be. Okay, so again, this should be step one. So you will, depending on your TriCaster Vizion setup, you might have two cards in here, but you can set this up to be different configurations. Okay, so I'm going to leave mine right now as 7 inputs and 1 output, and I'll show you why that will matter here in a bit. Okay, so we'll just keep that in mind in the back of our head. So we'll go to create new session. So first thing, we need to title our session. So for this, I'm just going to call this one tutorial session. Okay. All right, then your other option is you do have the option to select which drive that you want to save your session and all of its content to. So on my particular configuration, I have my D drive, but then I also have an NRS on my network, so I can record to that. So it just depends on how your setup is going here too. Okay. Now the next option is you can select from your session menu if you want to say clone an existing session, but retitle it so that you can move things, around however you need. I only have one on here for now, so I just have this guy right here. But we're going to leave that alone here for a bit, and I'll take a look at that after we create this session. Okay. Now, from here, we also have options under the presets side of things to where you can set your session up via like 4K, put it in NTSC, HDR, PAL, etc. But then also down here, you can do that as well. So you can dial it in. So depending on your region, you can select NTSC or PAL. I'm going to leave mine as NTSC format. That looks pretty good. But you can go, like I said, all the way up to 4K 60p. Awesome. Cool. And also here, we also have an option now, which is awesome on the TriCaster Vizion, is you have different color spaces to work with. So we can go from SDR all the way up to 10-bit SDR, also hybrid log gamma, and perceptual quantize. Woo! So a bunch of different options now as far as setting up the different color spaces in your sessions. So that just depends on the workflow and setup that you want to do. All right, and then after that, we also have the option under orientation if you want to make this in landscape, or if you want to put it into a portrait mode or into square, depending on where you're, sending out your feeds to. Okay, and then also once you have all these set up, you can go through and save that preset into something that you want. So I'll just put this one here as simple setup. Cool. All right, and now from this point on, I can go through and just select this. If I had a specific, setup in here, I can save that so that when I start to create a bunch of sessions down the road, you're covered. So cool. All right, so let's go ahead and let's create this session. All right, and there we go. You'll see that we've created it, and it is now shows up in our existing side of things. All right, so from here, we'll just go ahead and click on Start Live Production. And while this loads, I'll probably fast forward through it, and we'll get to the next part. All right, so here we are in the session that I just created. I don't have anything here right now because this is just a blank session. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to take a little note here real quick. We'll go up to Setup, and I won't go through all of these settings just yet, but I do want to just remind you, if we go to Connectors, that this is the current layout, 7 inputs, and 1 output, okay? And once you're inside the session, you cannot change this configuration, okay? So I'm going to show you that for a very good reason. Let's go ahead and exit out of this, because now what I want to do is I'm going to change my configuration, because let's say that we're going to create another session with, say, 4 ins and 4 outs kind of thing. So we'll go to configuration, connectors again. And now for this other session that I want to create, I'll say 4 inputs, 4 outputs, and I'll hit apply for that. And so that'll reconfigure your Matrox cards. And then once this is done, you'll have to reboot your system before creating another session or getting into your existing sessions. But let's go ahead and I'll fast forward through that as well, and we'll go to the next part. All right, so my TriCaster Vizion has been restarted, and if I click on configuration, connectors, yep, there we go. I am now set to 4 in and 4 out. Okay, so why does that come into play? Well, let's go ahead and do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone the session that I just created, and let's call this one session 4 in, 4 out. Cool. All right, and so now under the template side of things, let me go ahead and select that, and I'm going to select that tutorial session that I just created. Okay. Cool, so all the settings were already be filled in because, again, I am just basically cloning that session. All right, and then from here, let's go ahead and click on create. Cool, our session is now created. And you see they have identical session, the identical setup from the tutorial session that I made. All right, and now from here, let's go ahead and click on Start Live Production, and this is where I wanted to bring it up. So since we made that connection configuration change, this is going to give you some warnings here, basically saying, hey, just so you know, your other session was in 7 in and 1 out, and your hardware is currently set up to be in 4 in, 4 out. So now you have options to, if you want to update it, you know, as far as change it back to what you had there, or just keep loading your session the way it is, etc. All right. That being, we just, you know, it's in there as a fail-safe to make sure that you're not creating a session and accidentally messing up your configuration as far as your inputs and outputs are concerned. So it's just there to be a helpful reminder of, hey, before you know, that's what's going on. Okay. But from this, we can just say open, and we'll keep it as that. So we'll start up our session. All right, now we're in the blank session of the one that we just created, and basically it's just cloning the same pathways and you know, the different media that you would bring over using the other session as a template. All right, and then again we'll go up to setup here and connectors. All right, just to verify here, just want to show you that now this session is in 4 in and 4 out. Okay, so cool. Just a nice little short tutorial as far as making sure that you're on the right page as far as creating your sessions, and then also the configuration of your different hardware inputs and outputs on here. So some really cool stuff you can do with this. I highly recommend, again, playing around with it, and of course, have some fun. Woo! Another one. And I'll be making more tutorial videos on the TriCaster Vizion, so make sure that you subscribe to the VizRT YouTube channel at youtube.com/VizRTofficial for more to come. And for formalized VizRT product training, sign up for Viz University, available at vizrt.com/community/viz-university. And you can find more information about VizRT products and services by contacting your local VizRT partner, or check out our website, vizrt.com. And if you are posting your work using VizRT products on social media, hey, make sure that you tag us using the hashtags VizRT, TriCaster, or Vizion with a Z or Z, wherever you're from. Now, I see all these posts. I love everything that you're working on, so keep it up. And thank you again for watching, and I'll see you again real soon for another episode of VizRT Tuesday Tutorials.